Today we're going to go back to 2001 and take a look at the set I wanted the absolute most out of the original line of LEGO Harry Potter sets. This is set 4706, The Forbidden Corridor. I was lucky enough to pick up this set in fantastic used condition, and it even came complete with the original box, which is so exciting as the older style boxes and instructions actually had photos of alternate builds that you could make using these same exact pieces. This set originally released in 2001 and for 20 years was the only set that you could get Fluffy in, and this Fluffy in particular is the only time we've had him be a completely specialty molded piece, and he looks amazing. And because it was from the original wave as well, all three of the minifigures still had their yellow faces. Kicking things off, we have Harry Potter, who in this set came with a purple cape in order to represent his invisibility cloak. He has his classic hairpiece as well as his face, and all three of these minifigures in their original robes were actually in the light grey color rather than dark grey, which was introduced in 2004 for the characters. Unlike Harry, Hermione and Ron actually have these black capes with stars on the inside, and these are really hard to find in good condition, and I'm so grateful that mine just look absolutely so crisp and pristine. I really liked Ron's original face print. I think it looked really cool and still made him feel pretty youthful, unlike Hermione, who her original face print is borderline creepy and makes her look so old. Her hairpiece though I think matches really well. The only thing it really doesn't depict is the kind of curly texture of Hermione's hair, but given that this was 2001, I think these minifigures overall were really solid for what they were. Much like a lot of the sets from this time period, this set is incredibly basic and also uses a lot of large pieces. You'll notice with a lot of older sets, the piece counts tend to be a lot lower, and that is because they were using giant specialty molded elements. For example, the base is made up of these really thick and big grey base plates. At the top as well, we have this molded sand green roof, and not to mention Fluffy himself. And given how little pieces there are in this set, it is considerably large. The entire thing as well is built on a hinge joint, so you can actually open and close it and kind of create more of the storyline of the Forbidden Corridor. Starting off on the right hand side, we have some resemblance of the Grand Staircase using these spinning spiral grey pieces, and there is quite a lot of them too. There's nothing really hooking the stairs into the actual floor though, so the entire thing can kind of just spin around in a complete 360 motion. And those stairs lead us up to the third floor, complete with the locked door in order to access Fluffy, as well as a tiny little trunk which inside actually contains a printed bar piece with a flute platen on it. There's also a tiny grey key on the inside, but the idea is you can take the flute out and make one of the characters play it in order to make Fluffy fall asleep. If you open the set up all of the way, that door then leads us to the Fluffy platform where she is growling and looks absolutely incredible. I love this Fluffy molded piece, and it's actually dual molded. The entire base of her is completely black, which doesn't really blend in all that well, but I don't mind necessarily because the actual molded portion of her is fantastic. Now Fluffy is actually made up of 4 parts, as each of the heads is detachable, so if you're looking for Fluffy on the secondhand market, be sure to make sure that all 3 of those head pieces are present. And because each of the heads is different, it actually means that you can open up the mouths and have a little bit of play function there and make Fluffy growl and bite and snap at the characters, which I think is really cool. There are 2 studs on the top of her and a tiny little tail at the back, and overall I think she is in a really nice scale to the minifigures. And Fluffy for the most part just sits on top of this little trapdoor, which then if you follow the storyline of the movie, you can open that trapdoor up and the characters can fall through into the devil's snare. Now in order to make them actually fall into the devil's snare, you can actually lift up the plant and have the characters fall through and land directly in it, which sometimes it can work, and other times the drop is a little bit too big that the characters will just jump out and fall off. But the idea is basically you could capture them inside there and close them inside these leaf pieces and then bend them over, lift it up to tip them out as if they're using Lumos Solem. On the base of the floor there is a couple of cobwebs with some spiders in them, as well as some bats in order to represent that this is a well forgotten about part of the castle. But overall, given how small this set is, I feel like it tells a significant part of the end of the first movie. Despite its low piece count, you get a pretty sizable amount of the castle and all 3 main characters plus Fluffy, and I feel like that was the real draw to me when it came to looking at this set. And even though this set is pretty dated, I find this set way more enjoyable than the 2021 remake. I don't know if it's just the classic charm or me looking at it through nostalgia goggles, even though I actually didn't have the original version of this set. Let me know what you think about this set in the comments down below, and subscribe to my channel for more vintage Harry Potter reviews.